Welcome to the Fall 2020 Ladies Big Book Study Recording Series. My name is Kimberly and I am a recovered alcoholic. I am the facilitator of a tri-weekly Big Book Study for ladies only, and we record each session so we can share the knowledge along with you. What we do is we read the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous line by line. We pause on each page and have discussion time to share our experience, our strength, and our hope on each page. You are more than welcome to follow along in this series and do the work of the steps of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you do need support at any time, please reach out to me in the Contact Us area of my YouTube channel, and we're happy to provide you with support. The online recordings are open to men and women. Do not be discouraged, gentlemen. Our ladies' point of view may offer you a different perspective. So welcome. I hope you enjoy. Do one of those, and we are carrying on in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we are on page 64. So last time we listed people, institutions, or principles with whom we were angry. We asked ourselves why we were angry. So that's the title of column 2. Why we were angry. In most cases, it was found that our self-esteem, our pocketbooks, our ambitions, our personal relationships, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore. We were burned up. On our grudge list, we set opposite each name our injuries. So there's the title for column 3, our injuries. And we have 5 choices, and only 5 choices. Was it our self-esteem, our security, our ambitions, our personal or sex relations which had been interfered with? We were usually as definite as this example. And so you'll see there's an example there, and we will break that example down a bit more when we start discussing it. We went back through our lives. Nothing counted but thoroughness and honesty. When we were finished, we considered it carefully. The first thing apparent was that this world and its people were often quite wrong. To conclude that others were wrong was as far as most of us ever got. Highlight, underline, star that sentence. Because that is where most people end their look-see-loo into their life. They've concluded that others were wrong and that they hurt us. Victim. You can write that next to that in big letters, victim. That's what we've been. We've been victims of life, people, things, and it was always their fault. The usual outcome was that people continued to wrong us and we stayed sore. How many repeat situations are we going to find here? I bet you a lot. Boyfriend number 1 did that to me. Boyfriend number 2 did it too. Boyfriend number 3. Boyfriend number 4. Jesus, these boyfriends keep doing these things to me. The same thing keeps happening. Who's the common denominator, right? Sometimes it was remorse, and then we were sore at ourselves. But the more we fought and tried to have our own way, the worse matters got. As in war, the victor only seemed to win. Our moments of triumph were short-lived. It is plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours that might have been worthwhile. I'm going to interject a brief story here. There is someone that 30 days ago saw me post something motivational on Facebook that hit a part in them and upset them, and they sent me a private message through Facebook Messenger that said, F you, Kim, F the big book, FAA, God's so far up your butt, blah, 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 blah. Have I done anything to that person? No. This person has been going on in this state for 30 days. They messaged me again yesterday, squandering the hours with this resentment based on my happiness, which is all rooted in the parts of these columns that they have yet to do. But with the alcoholic whose hope is the maintenance and growth of a spiritual experience, this business of resentment is infinitely grave. We found that it is fatal. For when harboring such feelings, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the Spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns, and we drink again. There is the promise of step 4. If we do not master our resentments, we will drink again. It doesn't say we might. It doesn't say possibly. It says we will drink again. If we were to live, we have to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. That's where we end our reading today. Now, I do not like to leave off on a negative. I always like to interject hope, but the reason we are leaving off here is because we really need to get to that resentment point in order to start looking at it from another direction, and that direction is from us looking out instead of the world coming at us. And this is where people go away. So we have to remember what the book says. If we do not master these resentments, we will drink again. So if you do not want to drink again, we need to keep going. If you master this process, you will not drink again. If you continue on the work that is in this book after this point, you do not ever have to live with anger, resentment, and all of that nonsense again. I promise you that. Why? Because it happened for me. If it can happen for me, it can happen for you, but you need to do this work. And it sucks, but we're making it as painless as we can because there is joy on the other side of this page. This page is where the change happens. Think of it as you're hiking up a mountain and you're sweaty and your ass hurts and your legs are burning and you can barely breathe and you have that metallic taste in your mouth because you've hiked your fat ass up that mountain and it sucks. But you're this close to the top. You can see the sunlight above the trees and you're like, I'm almost there. Keep going. Because at the top of that mountain is your 5. And from there, you start coming down the mountain. Your water's tasting a little bit better. And you can see this beautiful valley. And it's gorgeous. And there's all of us sitting there beside the pool and the palm trees. And we're enjoying our best lives. But you gotta keep going up the mountain to get to the top in order to get to the valley. We are almost at the top of the mountain. Keep going. You don't get the ass you want by sitting on it. You gotta keep going. So I gotta give you that injective hope because this page sucks. Writing out this stuff sucks. But why do we write it out? We write it out to get it out, to see it from another point of view so that we can bask in the glory of the sunlight of the Spirit. Because this is what is blocking you. This is what is keeping you drunk. This is what is keeping you miserable. So this is the key to unlocking that sunlight. So what do we got to do? We got to do column 2. and we got to do column 3. And if you look at how they've got it written out on page 65, it's point form. If you look at how I have it in my example, it is even more point form. We are not writing a victim impact statement for Crown Counsel or the DA. We are writing out our why we were angry. Why was I angry? He cheated, he stole, he lied, she gossiped, she manipulated, she slept with my husband, she stole my promotion, she abused me as a child, he sexually molested me, the bitch at the lineup took too long with her bank card, she was telling her life story to the clerk. That clerk might be the only person she talks to that day. Point form. Why was I angry? We are not reliving it. We are stepping on it to look on the other side. Think of yourself as going over a rocky river and there's little stones. You're just stepping on that stone real quick to get to the other side. We are not staying on the stone. We don't want to live on the stone. We're not pitching a tent on the stone. This is just a stepping stone to see this from another angle. We are not writing a victim impact statement. Please, it will make you crazy and it will take you out. Point form. Mr. Brown, he paid attention to my wife. He told my wife of my mistress. He got my job at my office. Point form. Mrs. Jones, she's a nut. She snubbed me. She committed her husband for drinking. He's my friend. There went my drinking buddy. Point form, please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening on YouTube. So don't rip that Band-Aid off and bleed out. We want point form, no victim impact statements. And then for column 3, my injuries. We got 5 choices. Self-esteem, security, ambitions, personal relations, and sex relations. You can number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can just simply put number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Let's break those down a little more so we know what they mean. And this sheet is on the Facebook group. If you need it in person, you can email me and I can send it to you PDF and you can print it out. So number 1, self-esteem. That's pretty self-explanatory. Number 2 is security. Now, security can be a number of things. Emotional security, financial security, spiritual security, mental security, and physical security. Number 3, ambitions, my goals and dreams in life. So if a cheating partner makes my self-esteem crappy and it affects my sex relationship, it's also affecting my ambitions because I want to be a wife someday. So if he's doing these things, he's affecting my ambitions. If he's stifling my growth so I don't get a promotion because I'm not allowed to work because he's jealous, that's affecting my ambitions. If he keeps telling me I'm a loser and I'll never amount to anything, that's my self-esteem and my ambitions. Number 4 is personal relationships. People neglect this one a lot, but if you're getting gossiped about at work, this is affecting your personal relations at work with your other coworkers. It could also be affecting your personal relations with your friends if you're bitching to your friends about that gossipy bitch at work. It can also affect your personal relations with your family. If every time you call your mom and you're like, oh, mom, this girl at work and it's awful, you're affecting your relationships with other people based on that relation. And of course, your sexual relationships, that does not just mean physical sex, that means dating as well. So now and in the future. So if something someone's doing or something is doing is affecting how you look toward dating or relationships, that's affecting your sexual relationships. You can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of the time, all 5 apply. And if you think that not one of them applies, you're wrong. There's one that does, always. And so that's the column 3. And that is today's homework and questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, experiences. Marla had her hand up first. Marla?
No, just a mistake. Not me. Thanks.
Well, nice to see you.
What, I mean, I made a mistake.
Okay. Beverly in Utah.
Hi, Beverly, alcoholic. Hey, under column 3, in my past, inventories, pride was, I needed to look at pride. What do you think about pride being one of the injuries?
Pride is under self-esteem.
Okay, that's just,
Yeah.
how dare they treat me that way, that kind of thing.
Self-esteem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
So that top page on 65, this is where we get the options from, and it says, was it our self-esteem, our security, our ambitions, our personal or sex relations that were interfered with? And pride would definitely fall under self-esteem. Because sometimes you can have too much self-esteem, which we like to call ego. Because it's false around here. Marianne Toronto. Oh, you're muted.
Hi, friends. I am an alcoholic from Toronto. My name's Marianne. Got a question. I find that a lot of the names on my list, I have all 5 or all 6. Is that common?
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
Good.
100%. Yeah. For me, if I'm really being honest, it affects all 5 most of the time. And you like I said earlier, if you were here when we were talking before the meeting, it repeats. It's like, oh yeah, here we go again. Yeah, oh yeah, this applies. It repeats. Amandeep.
Sorry, I was wondering if you can hold up the sheet you did again, because I'm on the Facebook page and I don't see it. No, sorry, you had another one. Yeah, I don't, it's upside down. Sorry. Is there, I don't see that on the Facebook page.
I think I bumped it.
Well, I'm looking under all files.
Oh, it's in the comments. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, like under documents, I see the layout of step 4 columns, column 4, 5, fears, sex inventory.
4. Fears, column 5, layout of 4. Okay, maybe Kelowna didn't put it. I can add it again.
Thank you.
I'm not so smart with PDFs, but I might just do a picture and someone that's smarter than me can PDF it. Bonnie T.
Yes, hi, Kim. I'm not sure. Okay, what about, I've got this under principles, and I don't know if that's where it fits. But say a political leader and the ideology of that particular leader. And I'm going down and I'm thinking, well, security, but this leader's in another country. And I'm trying to think of where that would fit.
Well, it could definitely be your security because it's affecting your emotional security.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
Yes, it is.
100%.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that one there can be a lot in the personal relations too, because we tend to talk about things like that, which can cause. If you're on Facebook, you see all the drama those types of leanings draw. Yeah. So it really affects personal relations. Absolutely.
Right.
Anne-Marie.
Hi, me again. Could you said you would email the column page and that other page that you showed?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll text you my email address after
Yes,
the meeting.
please.
Okay, perfect. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I have them already in a little file on my email. So it's click, click, click. It's easy. Swapping from one to another, I don't know how to do that very well. All right. Any other questions? Experiences for those who did this last time? iPhone. Is that Trish?
Yes, it is.
Hi.
Being here, everyone. I'm Trish, and I'm an alcoholic. I just wondered about column 3, the 5th point. I did miss that one. What was it again?
Sexual relations.
Okay, no wonder I missed it. Thanks.
And those are at the time or in the future. So if it affects your possible dating in the future as well. Marianne.
I gotta say, after I did this in the first one, the first line by line, because it is so clear cut the way you put it for me, it really took it from me. It took it from them to me, and it's very simple for me. I have gone on the Facebook page quite a few times just to refer it to me if something's come up and I'm doing an inventory. And it does get it to usually a fear that I have. And it is a great way of, I can attest to how easily it did flow once I started to do it a few times. So I do encourage everybody to do it because it does make life a lot easier, as you said. So thank you. Thank you for putting it on the Facebook page so I can refer to it because stuff crops up quite a bit.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I don't want to give away too much because I like doing it as the book is the process to get you to the end where we tie it all together. But once you tie it all together, the light bulbs that come on and you're like, oh man. And then realizing that everything's rooted in that fear, like it says in those previous pages. And so now when I have something come up, I can do this formula in my head really quickly from practicing it. And it's like, okay, what part of this is it hitting in me? Okay, why is it affecting me like that? Okay, what is my blame here? What's my fault here? And then it's like, okay, what's the fear? To the point now, when if I have a situation, my sponsor will just say, okay, what fears are coming up for you? What's coming up in your tens? It's because this is the procedure. This first one is just unlocking the door of it, because we can continue this, and we are supposed to continue this for a lifetime, because life happens, things happen, events come up. We run into sick people all the time, and we're going to talk about those people next time on Monday. Those dang sick people, they keep coming up. All right, anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns? I forgot to mute Trish and Marla. All right, so if that's, oh, Bonnie, perfect. Just remember, there's no dumb questions either, ladies, because someone else is probably thinking it too if you have a question. Bonnie, can you get it? There
okay. The emotional security part, I'm a little bit, because there's quite a few here that I'm not sure where to put it, because it's like a big thing. Like I really say don't like racists. Make me mad. People who are very entitled, that makes me mad. All that kind of. So they're kind of distance from me. Mm-hmm. They're not specifically people that I, in my, So that is all what you would call security, because it upsets my emotional security. Is that so? I focus on that, and that's what's upsetting my emotional security.
Absolutely. And that can also affect your mental security. If it's renting a lot of space in your brain, it affects your mental. And if it causes you a lot of stress, that can affect your physical security as well. Because if you get worked up about certain groups of people, it can affect your physical. 100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And sometimes those ones too, they can hit on that self-esteem. If it has that judgment bit attached to it, judgment usually hits on self-esteem.
How would that be self-esteem? Can you explain that to me?
So if I don't like a group of people, based on their, like, for example, I don't like using political ones, but let's go with gossipy because that's the most common. But, you know, gossipy, racism, that kind of, all of those hateful things, it gets into that realm of judgment. And it can cause me to feel lesser than or better than. And lesser than and better than are tied to self-esteem.
Yeah, okay, so I hear the better than. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of them are like, oh, I don't know if I want to touch that one. Okay, Francis D. Oops, I hit M and D. Sorry.
Oh, hi. Hey, Kim, Francis, alcoholic. So I've done quite a few sets of steps, and there's always one person on it, and I get over it, and then this person does something else against me or my family, and then I don't feel the resentment as bad, but I do feel it. It takes up space in my head. So am I going to put that person or sit down and do an automatic mini for? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If the person keeps coming up, there's two things going on. Number one is you haven't actually put the original resentment to bed, or there's someone that keeps coming up and causing new resentments.
Okay, thanks.
But either way, if they're coming up, we have to look at it. And if it's someone that keeps coming up because they keep causing a new resentment, we need to look at why this person's still in our sphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like for me, this person that's been mad at me for 30 days, it doesn't rent space in my head. I don't even think of them until they comment on something, and what do? Block and delete, and they don't rent space, and now I use them as an example. If I was to see them walking down the street, would it cause me to go, no, I would just keep walking down the street. It doesn't affect me. But if it affected me, then I have to look at why. Amandeep.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm just looking at the your step 4 that you had labeled out, and I see under McDonald's at St. John's and gas prices under my injuries, you was personal relations.
Because I complained about it.
Talk on that.
Because I complain about it to other people. And with the example of gas prices, it affects sex relations as well, because I'll be in a car and I won't get gas because I want to drive 30 minutes out of the city, and then I get in an argument with my partner on why that's so ridiculous that I'm wasting gas to go get cheaper gas. So it's affecting my relationship with my partner. But you know, like the McDonald's, I'll bitch at my kids for wanting to go there because I'm too impatient to wait and the order's always wrong. So it's affecting my personal relationships with my kids. So if it's something that I'm complaining about, or in some way there's collateral damage to other people because I'm dragging them 30 minutes out of the city to buy gas, that's affecting those relationships. Yeah. You know, if you work in a toxic work environment and you come home from work and you're in a bad mood every time, and you get home and you're just like grumpy because your toxic work environment has affected you and you've brought it home, and you yell at your kids because the room's not clean, and you bitch at your husband because he hasn't made dinner and his shoes are at the door, that's affecting those relationships. And we don't look at how that happens. Just like when we're dating, if I'm dating someone and you know, it's not the best relationship, that's going to affect my children, my family. You know, it can affect, I had a relationship affect my workplace because he would come and cause a scene at my workplace. So sometimes we are so focused on ourselves and our injuries, we don't look at how some of the things that we've brought into our lives, we are also bringing those people into the lives of others. And it's just expanding that scope of being conscious of how our actions affect other people as well. And that's totally foreign for a lot of us because it's me. I don't care. I want to date that guy because he's hot. Well, look at how his behavior is affecting the scope of people around me. Bonnie T. Hi.
I already talked, but actually I have one other thing to say. Sorry. And that is, this is incredible. I'm writing down when you said that better than. Now I see myself as being very low in self-esteem. And as I go through this, it's, because I'm mad at the way people are thinking about things. And so I'm looking better than, because I'm thinking smarter. I'm thinking more, right? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and it's
I wasn't gonna
amazing.
say that, but since you called.
It's amazing how when we have low self-esteem, we also have this very strange high opinion of ourselves. Yet it's bizarre how our brains are so wonky, and it gets even more interesting when we get into column 4. I can't remember who was next. Phone caller 732 area code. Okay, Marla, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, just a minute. Let me make sure.
Yeah, you're
shoot.
unmuted.
Oh, okay. Well, I really loved we were talking about Monday, and I was really thinking about it a lot. And I went to this meeting, and I was, more information came out. What I always talk about after I come to big book studies with you, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to go on a retreat to process all I learned. But it was the coolest thing to see I had some questions about people in my life blocking my self-love, and anyways, and so it's very interesting. This person, I was very excited about this discovery and everything, and they misunderstood. They thought I was talking about some political person, which I wasn't. But they have created this huge resentment, and have gone to all these different people to say how I said this thing or I'm wrong or whatever, And I don't even really know what they're talking about. I didn't know about this until this morning. But it's just funny. One, it's funny that it comes up here today in this study. But what I'm grateful for is, as much as I've learned from you, Kim, and all the other women, which is I could never get this kind of information outside of here. And, I've been able to just go, oh, that's okay. I hope you can work that out. But it doesn't have anything to do with me. Or I can think about it or talk to somebody else and say, no, I think this does not anything to do with me, and then let it go. And I don't have to let it keep eroding self-love. And I can say God bless them and go on their journey, and I can go on mine. And I'm just so grateful, because I would spend years being tormented by what somebody else thought of me or what somebody else was thinking. I thought, oh, for gosh sakes, I have no idea what they're thinking. But I will spend some time reviewing what I've learned today and see if there's anything else I need to add. But thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And in listening to your share, it brings up, so last night at the nighttime meeting, the topic was page 417, acceptance is the answer. And now I love that reading. I love that whole story. But like what we shared last night was that it's a whole story. And the piece that people miss all the time when they're like, read 417, acceptance is the answer. That person had already done this process and was living this principles in all of his affairs. So, but if you just go by that one paragraph on page 417, acceptance is the answer, like we've seen in the last couple of questions, is that you're always looking out. Acceptance is the answer, looking outwards. I'm accepting that person, place, or thing. And I'm never looking at what we're talking about here is, whoa, myself, my fault, my blame, my part, And so when we have the whole of it entirety, then I'm able to say, yeah, I accept that person, place, or thing for being as they are, but I know the role that I play. I know I can control my reaction. I know that I can understand that maybe that cashier at the grocery store's son has cancer and her partner just left her and her life is falling apart. It's a lot different than going, well, I just accept she's a bitch and whatever, that's fine. That's a big difference, a big, big difference. And, I love that reading. People think I hate it. I don't like the context in which it's primarily used, and just accept things. Just accept things. That doesn't work. But if I'm practicing this whole program in my life, that is a big key. And so I like to make that distinction. If I can accept that maybe she's got a lot going on in her life, Maybe her son is going through cancer treatment and she's stressed and her husband just left and she doesn't know how she's going to pay the bills. And she's worried that this job at the grocery store is going to bring her COVID home to her sick kid. Then I'm able to accept that maybe I should be a better person and I can be a kinder person. And I don't have to be so self-centered in my righteousness that I used to carry around. So that just came up, and I like to say things as they come up for me. Connie in Georgia.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Connie. I'm an alcoholic, and yeah, I was at that meeting last night too. It was great. It was really good about the acceptance, and I really enjoyed everything you had to say and agree with it, because he is somebody that is working the program. It's just not, you just don't accept things. And I've gone through the resentment list that you had before, and it's really helped me a lot. I just have one resentment though, and I'm not sure really how to deal with it because I've never really looked at it, and it's affected my life a lot. And what it is, it's resentments against my brother. However, my brother has passed away about 3 years ago. So, you know, I can't, and I'm really sad that I never really went to him and made amends, I guess, for my side of it. But there are things that maybe other people do, their actions, and it reminds me of something that he used to do, and then it gets, and so I'm sort of judging them, and it gets under my skin a lot. And so he's just somebody that really, for a long time in the program, people didn't even know I had a brother, and then, you know, and so I really haven't looked at it, but since I'm sort of diving deeper into it, you know, I just want to look at it. And so I guess, you know, I'm just asking, like, if somebody has passed away like that and you still have all that coming up, how do you deal with that?
Definitely do this process with regards to him. And then we're going to do the amends process. Absolutely. Because you've just been, he's gone, and you haven't done anything with it. So just do the work with regards to him. And if it helps, I would suggest doing it as if he was not passed, like that there's no closure, right? His passing didn't give you closure. Right. So do this as if he was alive. And just go through these columns for him, and then we're going to do the rest of the work with regards to it and make that amends. That's where you're going to get that closure. That's where you'll find peace. And then and then next time we're going to talk about sick people. And for a lot of us, we haven't fully accepted that these people who we have resentments against are sick people. And this is where we have to have that. We're going to go into it more next time, but I might as well talk about it. We have to have that loving and that compassion, that these are sick people that have not done this work. And what they've done to us are symptoms of their sickness. These people, like, I have a girlfriend, and her number one line is, my mom didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to fuck this kid up. She did the best with what she had because she was sick. The same as with your brother. Your brother was sick. And those things that happened were symptoms of his illness. And I'm not sure the circumstances of his death, but he's no longer suffering. He's no longer harming you with the symptoms of his illness. Now it's time to finish the process and heal. And how do we heal? We realized that he was sick. We realized that they did the best that they could with what they had. And unfortunately, when you're sick, that's not much. And then we look at our fault, our blames. What could we have done differently? What part of this is mine? We can pray for that to be removed, and we are better people as a result, so we don't have these things that recur. And then we make our amends. And we make amends to people who are past, and that's where we get that relief. And it works. I've done it. Everything I speak on from experience. So,
Well, one thing I just wanted to say is somebody did suggest to write a letter to him in amends, and then you can burn it or throw it away or something.
yeah, absolutely. But you do need to do the step 4 and 5 with regards to him first. We have to remember that. Like, if someone's passed, it doesn't mean that resentment's gone. We still need to process it. Why? Because this list is not about them. This list is about me. So if it's still coming up for me, there's something that I haven't resolved in myself. That might be a big thing for a lot of you to hear. But if I have a resentment on this list, it's because there's something in me that I need to resolve. So for example, if someone's mad at me, I sit and I go, okay, this person doesn't like me. Have I done something to this person? No, I have not done anything to this person. Okay, so what in me is doing this? Something in them doesn't like something in me. That's why they're burned up about me. So there's always that part. If it's coming up, I've got some role to play in that. And this is the self-discovery that we're on in a step 4-5. This is how we master those resentments. All right. We can chat more after the meeting too. It's Friday. I don't have much going on. Marianne, Toronto.
So I do have a question. I was trying to take somebody who asked me to help them through this process, just the way you laid it out. And we got to this process and she said, I can't do this. Like, I've got mental health issues and I'm not ready in that. And I thought that we had gotten through step 3 and we're ready to do this work. And I'm just wondering what your experience is with that, because I have heard that, sometimes this is like a Pandora's box that maybe you need outside help with. And so I always say what the book says, get outside help. That's no problem. But, I can only go with my experience, and this is what helped me. So I said, okay, that's fine. Come back to me when you're ready in that. But I will use what you told me today, that you're almost there. Like, this is freedom if we can get through this. I mean, but it's hard. It was, I guess I don't feel secure enough. And I guess it'll take time, but I don't want to mess anybody up either, is my fear.
Okay, number 1, you can't mess anybody up. You cannot mess anyone up at all. All we are here to do is be a spiritual guide to this program. If someone is in that situation, they're still coming at it from fear and as a victim. And the one thing that I would recommend doing is do a couple small ones. Do a couple small ones so that they can see it from another angle. Because right now, they're only seeing it in that these people hurt me, I'm a victim, and that hurts. And for someone that's got big layers to peel, they cannot see it from the other angle. But if you use something really small and insignificant to start that shift, it can open that box up. So for example, the lady at the grocery store or McDonald's, something that doesn't have a lot of emotional attachment to it. Like, we're not, like, if you've got someone that's got some real serious trauma, we want to baby step into that unless they're fully willing and ready. So you could easily just take a couple small ones. The gossipy girl at work, the mean girl from high school, the grocery store bitch, whatever, right? And just do a couple little ones so that they can see the shift, so that they go, oh, wow, that was my fear that caused me to do this, that caused my harm. So that it kind of opens that little window where they're like, oh, maybe there's something I can do and look at in me in these bigger ones. Because right now they're right in that, I'm being hurt. These people are hurting me and it's hurt and it's painful. And it is. But once you can look at something insignificant without that big emotional attachment, it's those little windows that they can start to have that shift of thinking. Yeah. A lot of it is fear, and people make fear around. Oh, step 4. Oh, you're in step 4. I hate that. Stop doing that. Step 4 is amazing. You're almost, oh, wow, once I did my 5. Oh, life got so good. If more people talked like that, less people would be scared of step 4. And that's a big thing. If you hear alcoholics, ooh, step 4, you're like, ooh, step 4. We take on these things. Lois, you're already unmuted.
I am, and first of all, I just want to say, when I was in my cups, I was the grocery store bitch. And I've done quite a few of these 4th steps, and they are freeing. They really are. It gives you a different look at yourself, and with the acceptance, I'm glad you said that, because it is the whole story, not just that little paragraph that we read. And I don't know if I'm getting ahead, but my little short prayer for acceptance is, bless them and change me. Just change my attitude towards whatever that person's situation is, and you do that as you get through the steps. So that's my take on it.
Thank you. Anne-Marie?
Hi. Just a thought occurred to me. At the top of 66, to conclude that others were wrong as far as most of us ever got. Wouldn't that be a stop-fail point?
Yes, that's why we are stopping at column 3, but with that big sentence about hope. This is where most people drop off, 100%.
Okay, so it's a stop-fail. If you can't get past the idea that we're not talking about other people, that this isn't a victim statement.
Well, no, we need to move on to the next pages in order for them to overcome that. They can't overcome that just based on looking at 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But that's the segue where it's like most people, this is all they get to. You've got to do the rest of the work. Like that, the next 2 paragraphs about realizing these people were sick, that's huge. Because people are like, oh, that guy did this to me and this girl did that to me, and that's where they get to, right? And that shift where you're like, these are sick people. They're doing the best with what they got. Summer knows this. So my older daughter, when she was mad at me, I would still drive my kids over to see her, and she'd be like, oh, mom, blah, blah, blah. And Summer's like, she was sick. She did the best with what she could, right? And that's just it. Like, I didn't wake up one day and decide I was going to be a terrible parent. I had an illness, Some people don't even know they're bitches.
True.
Right? Okay. Like I thought I was the nicest person. I'm like, I don't know why you're saying I'm unapproachable. I'm the nicest girl ever. But I was that girl that had 2 sides. Depended on what you were putting to my life, what side of me you got. Hang on, that phone. I know the name of the phone number. I just lost it. Suzanne, you're on the phone and you've got your hand up. If you hit *6, you should be able to unmute. Your area code is 732? Gotcha.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Suzanne and I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I've been on the last few weeks, but I've been quiet. I've been listening. I've been in the program for a while. In fact, it's over 36 years, and I've done this 4th step many times. And, it's really odd because when I was doing this again, along with some present resentments that I have against a few people, I also, this is going to sound crazy, but a couple people, it's from over 50 years ago that popped up. And I'm wondering why it didn't, the resentments that I had against these people, I'm wondering why it didn't come up sooner. But anyway, I no longer see these people, and I haven't really thought about them over the years. But I think I'm going to write out the resentment that I had against them at the time. And then and also how they affected me, and also, of course, the part I played in it. Now, I heard people, sharing about mothers and brothers. Well, I lost my younger brother 6 years ago, and I had never really made a complete amends to him. And my brother and I, we used to butt heads a lot. And even in sobriety, he knew how to push my buttons. And so anyway, I have to do a fourth on this, and especially the last few years, I have to go back and do another fourth. I had done one on him in early sobriety, and then a few years after that, something had come up. And but I also, what I did for myself, my older son who had died, I wrote a letter to him to make an amends. And but I had a good mother, but she made a lot of mistakes, and I really, I made a lot of mistakes because I was a very sick lady, and I'm an alcoholic, and I was not the greatest mother to my children, and but my younger son realizes today, that I was sick at that time. I was because of my alcoholism, and I was really not capable of being the mother that I say today he so deserved. But anyway, but do you think, I don't really know why these people, after all these years, pop up. I'm dealing with a couple people in the program today who I do have resentments against, only because a couple of them are very, very judgmental. And I feel myself that if you're in this program of Alcoholics Anonymous, you have no right to judge another person at the meeting. Anyway, and I'll let it go with that. But I just wanted to ask about, the two people that popped up from years back. Do I just forget about it because I haven't had contact with them in over 50 years?
For those ones, there's a bunch of reasons why things don't pop up when they do. But yeah, if they've popped up, definitely we do it. So a couple of reasons why they may have not popped up before is, well, for 50 years, you may not have been harboring a resentment against them. Like sometimes there's people for 50 years we're like, oh, that girl. But sometimes they're not. There also could be a little bit of a bigger purpose to it, right? God works in mysterious ways. Maybe he needs that to come up right now for you in order for you to look at it, to learn something that you haven't learned before in order to help another person. Or maybe it's something that you weren't ready to look at yet. For some people, they need to take off some of those thinner layers first before they get to the big, thick layers. But there's lots of different reasons why they don't come up earlier or later. The thing is when it comes up, promptly deal with it. I have learned that sometimes it's not about me why I learned these lessons. And it's like I needed to look at something because it was going to come up with someone else a couple days later. And then I'm like, oh, weird. But it wasn't. It's God, because he knows what's going to come in front of me. And so he'll be like, oh, here, deal with this so that you have it, so that you can have it in your memory bank to deal with this girl in 2 days, because she's going to call you about that. And so I'm going to have you look at it today. So there's a few reasons. Angela, sorry, I saw you there at the last minute.
Yeah, I was wondering, I got to run, but I was wondering, I'm sorry, my dog, your email address, I needed to get the
Yeah, here, I'll just pop it in the chat.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
shut up the dog.
Oh, my dog's like,
Okay.
there's a dog? I love it. Evan, do you... Oops, I muted you. I hit the button.
So did I at the same time. I'm Deep Addict. Great meeting. Thanks for everybody to be here. I have two quick comments. Really, one, I really appreciated Kim, when you commented that, working with someone else, we can't harm them. Like, we're responsible for our actions, and if we act with integrity and from a place of hope and truth for ourselves, maybe the other person forms a resentment against us, but then that's their work to do, not ours. But also the comment around like outside help and stuff, I think that if someone's seeking outside help and we start telling them not to, that's kind of dangerous. At the same time, like if someone's coming in and saying, hey, I don't know if I can do this, I have mental health, and I have a significant mental health history, and I do seek outside help, and that's really important, but it doesn't replace my 12-step work, and I'm able to hold them simultaneously. And I have had a sponsor one time tell me, well, if you keep on your mental health team or your medication, I can't work with you. Well, she wasn't the sponsor for me anymore, because that then would be harmful. We all get to create our own journeys. And then the other comment that I wanted to say is like with step 4, it's like, I'm not going to uncover any experience or action that I took that I don't already know about at some level, right? Like, I'm not going to miraculously discover that I murdered somebody when I know that I haven't. Right? What I am going to discover is what are my reasons and what were my actions there. And I'm going to hopefully gain compassion for myself and for others and how these things impact. And I'm going to get to heal the shitty stuff I've done in the past. And so that's the way I like to look at step 4, as opposed to, ooh, it's so scary.
Absolutely. And we are huge proponents of getting outside help around here and being properly medicated. And the one thing that we are huge proponents of is being honest with everybody involved in your care. If you are going to your doctor and you are going to your psychiatrist and you have a sponsor, make sure they all know everything. Don't leave anything out. If you are changing your medication with your family doctor, make sure that your psychiatrist and your therapist know, and tell your sponsor, hey, my doctor just lowered my dose. Because guess what? You're not going to notice the stuff that we notice in the next 2 weeks, because your brain is messy and it's going to tell you you're fine. And we're going to go, hey, remember you told me 2 weeks ago that you're changing your meds? I think maybe you should talk to your doctor because I've noticed this and this. Or your posts on Facebook have gotten really dark lately. Is something going on? Oh yeah, I stopped taking my meds. Yeah, you might want to go talk to your doctor. Like, other people in your support group need to know what's going on. And if you're telling one person one thing and another, you're being dishonest. And a big part of this program and success in this program is being honest. We can't help you if we don't know what's going on. And if I am working with someone, or if a doctor is working with someone, my doctor didn't know I did drugs, right? And I pretended I didn't have a drinking problem. So all I had was depression and a shitty husband. They can't help me if they don't know what's going on. We need to be honest with everyone in our care sphere so that we can get the right help, right? If I'm telling you advice, it's based on what I know and my experience. If I don't know that you're bipolar, my experience is no good to you because it's not going to apply. If you say, oh yeah, I've got this, this, and this, and you're mimicking what I say and you're a parrot of what I say, you're only going to get the experience I had. But if your reality is way different, we need to adjust that. So it's very, 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 very important to make sure everybody in your sphere has all of the pieces of the puzzle. If you're telling, oh, everything's fine at home and your husband's beating you every night, we need to know these things. We need to know the whole story. If you quit drinking but you're smoking pot, we need to know this. There are people here that have that experience and can help you. but we are only good as the information we get. If you don't understand something, please raise your hand and ask for clarification. If you're lost, please don't be trying to, tread water, because you're burning up your energy, you're going to drown. It's really, really important. There are no stupid questions here. There is no judgment here from me and hopefully from the other 48 people in the room. We are here to get well, and the only way we can get well is by being honest. So, super, super, super important. Well, look at that. I thought we were going to end a half an hour early, and we ended up going 6 minutes over. This is the power of talking, because when we talk, we uncover more things, and it brings things up with us. So thank you for everyone for sharing. We are going to